was booked on the same live stream game show as my industry frenemy Lila, Truth or Dare. She lost the round, picked Dare, and the card read, "Text I love you to the first contact in your phone." She tapped speaker and dialed. A cool, familiar male voice answered, "What's up?" "Husband, I love you." "I love you." She CHIRPED. The comment feed exploded. Asterisk wait, her husband is Ethan, the newly minted tech billionaire? Hold on, Ethan's married to Serena, right? Every crew member, every guest on set turned to stare at me like I'd sprouted a second head. Seeing my bloodless face, Layla covered her mouth in faux shock. "Oh my gosh, Serena, I'm so sorry. I had no idea the first number in my list was your husband. There's absolutely nothing going on, please don't misunderstand." So they'd already reached the point where "I love you" can be tossed out anytime, anywhere. And me, the lawful after 3 years of marriage, was saved in his phone as work partner Serena. Fine, I no longer had to prop up his devoted husband Fakad. I lifted my own phone, punched speaker, and called another number. A low velvet voice answered. "Hey Serena, miss me?" Smiling straight into the lens, I said, "Adrian, I'm home for dinner tonight." Before we go on, remember to subscribe and drop your city in the comments. The set felt vacuum sealed. Lila's syrupy, "Husband, I love you" still rang in my ears, surgically inserted. Ethan, my husband on paper, was silent for 3 beats. In those 3 seconds, the comment feed lost its mind. Did Lila just call Ethan husband? Asterisk, wasn't Serena the one who married him last year? The wife is right there, this is savage. Finally, Ethan spoke, unruffled. "Filming? Quit fooling around." No denial, no correction, just indulgent scolding. Lila obediently hung up, pivoted to me, and her eyes brimmed instantly. "Serena, I'm so sorry. My contacts are alphabetical Ethan's under Ayan, so he's first. I swear it was an accident." She flashed her screen. The pet name, Ayan, glowed, intimate and razor-sharp. Guests crowded in to smooth things over. "It's just a game, don't take it seriously." "She didn't mean it, Serena." I kept silent, studying her. Masterclass performance, explaining the dial, slipping the nickname like a second blade, hinting at private privileges. Who gives a casual friend a pet name? Seeing me frozen, she grabbed my hand, tears on cue. "Serena, please don't blame Ethan, we're only friends. I'll change the contact right after this, My phone vibrated. Ethan on WhatsApp. Asterisk, Lila's just clowning. "Don't glare on camera, you look awful." Asterisk, it's only a nickname. Get over it. Asterisk, so their flirtation was harmless fun. Any irritation from me was petty. For 3 years, I had stepped back, shelving great scripts, content to be the invisible boost to his brand. He enjoyed the doors I opened while cozying up to another woman and reduced me to work partner Serena, while she got the tender Ayan. Enough, I wasn't keeping up the loving couple act any longer. I gently peeled Lila's fingers off, lifted my phone, and hit speaker on a contact labeled home. 1 ring. A voice deeper and smokier than Ethan's drifted out, amused. "Hey, Serena, miss me?" The casual warmth Ethan had never shown me. Everyone's jaw hit the floor. The feed froze for a heartbeat, then detonated. Asterisk, who is that? Asterisk, she's cheating too? Asterisk, wait, what did she call him? Asterisk. I beamed at the camera, ignoring Lila's blanched face and the host's silent scream. "Adrian, I'm home for dinner tonight." "I'll tell Marta to make the short ribs you like," he chuckled. "Emery, want my driver?" "No need, Adrian." "I'll come when we wrap." I ended the call. Silence. Behind the set, the director yelled into his headset, "Kill the feed, cut." Too late. The tags Serena, Adrian, Ethan cucked. Livestream carnage rocketed to the top of the trending chart, each followed by a red explosive badge. Lila's complexion was printer paper white. She'd wanted a public meltdown, me painted as pitiful wife. Instead, I flipped the table. The male guest beside me stammered, Serena, who was that?" "My Adrian," I answered sweetly, glancing at Lila, what only Lila can call her Ayan. "But I can't tell family I'll be home for supper?" I bit down hard on the nickname. Lila swayed like she'd been slapped. The host finally found his voice. All right, just a misunderstanding." Let's move to the next. Nobody cared anymore. Every phone on set vibrated in a panic of pings. Mine was no different. Joanna calling nonstop, notifications stacked to 99. Mixed in were Ethan's hysterical text. Asterisk, have you lost it? Calling Adrian on national TV? Asterisk. Asterisk. Do you realize what you've done? You're wrecking me. Asterisk. Asterisk retract it, quit the show, get back here now. Asterisk. All those exclamation marks were hilarious. Evidence of his affair was practically slapping me in the face. Yet the only thing he worried about wasn't our marriage, his career, his reputation. I answered him unhurriedly. We're rolling cameras, don't make a scene. Then I muted the phone and slipped it back into my pocket. The rest of the taping turned into a surreal one-woman show. I'd never been looser, more immersed, as if none of it had happened. Every other guest, Layla included, sat distracted and twitchy. They kept glancing at me, curiosity, pity, a flicker of fear. Lila tried to start a conversation several times. I deflected each advance with a smile. She probably wanted damage control to splash the filth back onto me. Too bad I wasn't giving her the chance. When the recording finally wrapped, I stepped outside the soundstage and was instantly swallowed by reporters. Serena, are you and Ethan having marital problems? Who is Adrian? What's your relationship? Lila claimed she and Mr. Sterling are just friends. Do you believe that? Flashbulbs exploded in my face, microphones jabbing at my lips. Joanna shoved through with security, hoarse from yelling. Make way, no comment. Out of nowhere, a black Bentley bulldozed the crowd, brakes shrieking at my feet. The door flew open. Ethan climbed out, face dark as soot. He seized my wrist, squeezing so hard bones ground. Serena, you owe me an explanation now. His eyes were bloodshot. Hearing that, the press went wild. Shutters fired like machine guns. Mr. Sterling. Is your marriage on the rocks? What's the story with you and Lila? Ignoring them, Ethan glared and growled under his breath. Get in the car, we'll settle this at home. He meant to drag me off to finish the farce behind closed doors. I wasn't playing along. Ethan, you're hurting me. My voice cut cleanly through the uproar. His grip faltered. I yanked free and stepped back. Say whatever you want right here. I said evenly. Everyone's dying to hear. His complexion turned ash gray. The ever-docile wife had just defied him in public unthinkable. Serena, he spat through clenched teeth. Don't push me. Push you? I laughed. Who's really pushing whom? The woman who called you husband on live stream. I told you that was a joke. He waved an agitated hand. Stop humiliating us. Come home, tell the press it was staged, then apologize to Lila. Apologize to Lila? I almost laughed in hysterics. He cheats, the other taunts me, and I'm supposed to say sorry because I refused to swallow it and bruised his ego? And if I don't? I asked coldly. Patience exhausted, Ethan lunged to grab me again. Today you leave whether you want to or not. Just before his fingers closed, a razor-sharp male voice rang out. Enough! The word wasn't loud, but it cracked like a whip. The crowd parted as if choreographed. A tall man in a black suit, flanked by bodyguards, walked unhurriedly toward us. Dylan, Adrian's chief fixer. I recognized him instantly. Dylan passed Ethan without a glance and bowed to me. Casey, the boss sent me for you. Ethan froze mid-reach, stunned. He knew Dylan never appeared unless Adrian was close. Adrian is here? He croaked. Dylan offered no reply. He simply stepped aside and cleared a path. Beside the curb idled a Rolls-Royce Phantom, sleeker than Ethan's and bearing a license plate worth a fortune. Its rear window slid halfway down, revealing a profile carved from cold marble. Even in silhouette, the aura of entitlement and command stilled the entire mob. Ethan's face drained of blood. He stared, lips trembling, unable to speak. Without looking back, I walked to the car. Dylan opened the door. I ducked inside. The instant it shut, I heard Ethan's shaking whisper. Adrian, why? The rolls glided away, sealing chaos outside the bulletproof glass. Inside, the cabin smelled faintly of cedar and snow. Adrian sat beside me, eyes forward, scrolling through a tablet as he handled business. A bespoke charcoal suit emphasized broad shoulders and long legs. Gold-rimmed spectacles added a veneer of icy restraint to an already intimidating face. He did nothing, yet the air felt pressurized. Thank you, Adrian. I broke the silence. Without him, I couldn't guess how far Ethan might have gone. He turned, gaze dark and dissecting. We'll talk at home. I nodded and stayed quiet. The car sped uphill, stopping before a gated estate, the original Sterling Manor where Adrian and family patriarch Theodore lived. I'd visited only a handful of times during 3 years of marriage. Ethan disliked it. Too many rules, too much pressure, he said. He preferred our glass-walled penthouse downtown. Now I saw why the manor reminded him every luxury he enjoyed was rooted in family shade, most of it cast by an uncle barely older than he. Mrs. Chung waited at the door, beaming. "Serena's back. Come in, Theodore is expecting you in the study." I changed shoes and followed her down the long gallery. Adrian walked beside me. Suddenly he asked, "Scared?" I hesitated, then understood the familial storm I was walking into. I shook my head. Not anymore. The moment I dialed that call, I'd chosen to face whatever came. The corner of Adrian's mouth seemed to lift so slightly it might have been wishful thinking. The study door stood ajar. From inside came the sound of Ethan and his mother, my mother-in-law, crying complaint. "Dad, you have to stand up for me. That's Serena, she's completely out of control. She actually flirted with Adrian in front of the entire country. The Sterling name is disgraced." "Exactly, Dad. Look what they're saying online. Our stock is tanking. The woman's a jinx. I never wanted Ethan to marry her in the first place." My hand froze on the knob. Inside, Ethan's father, my father-in-law Marcus, sat on the sofa, face ashen. Lydia, my mother-in-law, dabbed at tears while she ladled extra poison on my crimes. Ethan stood to one side, pale and silent, but the tight line of his mouth shouted whose side he was on. They had arrived first class at guilty parties, racing to file the first report. "Serena, how dare you show your face?" Lydia spotted me and jabbed a finger. "Shameless. What did the Sterlings ever do to you that you trash our name in public?" "Mother," I said quietly, which I saw me trash the Sterling name. "I simply called Adrian to say I was coming home for dinner." "You," Lydia choked, trembling, still talking back. "You cooed at him, asked him to pick you up. Don't pretend you don't know exactly what game you're playing." "What game?" I gave a cold laugh and swung my gaze to the new Ethan. "Maybe ask your precious son what game he's playing." In his phone, my contact reads, "Work partner Serena." Lila's reads the cozy pet name, Effie. On the live stream, Lila called him husband right in front of me. He didn't correct her, just WhatsApp me not to make a fuss and to apologize to the other. "Mother, what game is that?" My words detonated in the room. Lydia's face flushed green then white. She stared at Ethan. "Effie, is this true?" Ethan's lips twitched. His eyes dodged. No sound came. His silence was the whole answer. "You wretched boy." Marcus snatched a teacup and smashed it against the floor. The crack was sharp enough to cut skin. "Dad, Lila and I are just friends," Ethan blurted. "Serena's blowing things up to humiliate me. Friends get a heart-faced nickname? Friends shout husband on camera?" Adrian finally spoke. Soft voice, 1,000-pound weight. Ethan shrank under it. Adrian." His bravado evaporated. Fear flickered. "Enough," Theodore said from the head of the room. Old but razor alert, he rapped his cane once. Instant silence. His glance traveled over every face, then settled on me. "Serena, you've been wronged." One plain sentence and my eyes burned. 3 years of marriage, first time a Sterling had uttered fairness aloud. "Grandpa." My voice cracked. "Grandpa's here." He beckoned. "Come." I walked over. He took my hand and patted it gently. Then he speared Ethan with a glare. "On your knees." Ethan's face bleached. "Dad," Lydia yelped, reaching to plead. "Silence," Theodore barked. Spoiling turned him into this, can't tell inside from outside. Marcus tugged Lydia's sleeve. "Shut up." Ethan clenched his jaw, humiliation pooling, but the cane and the patriarch won. His knees buckled, he thudded onto the cold floor. "Speak," Theodore ordered icy. "What really happened?" Ethan stammered, still hedging. "Lila and it was just social fun." "Fun?" Adrian flicked a tablet toward him. "Then explain why, under team building, you flew the whole executive board to the Maldives last month and Lila was on the manifest. Or why last week a pink Porsche 911 company paid was registered to her." Photos glowed. The pair entwined on sand, Lila selfie driving the car, expense slip stamped sterlingcorp.iron-clad. Ethan's sweat beaded. Never imagined his perfect cover lay catalogued. He floundered. "Wretch." Theodore thundered, cane whipping across Ethan's back. Ethan grunted, flattened, afraid to move. Lydia wept silently, too scared to beg. Only Theodore's ragged breathing filled the study. "Serena, how do you want this handled?" Sam, Theodore asked, tone gentler. Every eye swung to me. Ethan looked up, pleading. He assumed, as always, love or family face would make me smooth it over. One nod, one let it go, and the storm would pass, scolded, grounded, marriage intact. He had banked on my retreat 1,000 times. I stared at his still handsome face and felt only frost. Grandpa, I drew a slow breath, each word a chip of ice. I want a divorce, Lydia shrieked first. Ethan's head jerked, shock swirling. Serena, don't rush, he cried. I'm sorry, no more Lila, I swear. Give me one more chance. Chance? I almost laughed. Ethan, from day one you looked down on me, didn't you? You thought I was some C-list actress unworthy of the rising tech king. You enjoyed the doors my contacts opened, then sneered at my background because I didn't sparkle in your billion-dollar circles. You played the devoted husband for the press while labeling me work partner in your phone. You spent my network like currency, ordering me around as if I owed you rent on your last name. Today, on that live stream set, your woman pointed at my nose and taunted me in front of the entire country, and you told me to keep the big picture in mind, to go apologize to her. With every sentence I spoke, Ethan's face lost another shade of color. Ethan, put your hand on your heart and ask yourself, during these 3 years, have you ever really treated me as your wife? He opened his mouth, but not a single word came out. So let's get divorced, I delivered the verdict calmly. It's better for you and better for me. You can be with your precious sweetheart in broad daylight and you'll never have to stomach the sight of your business partner again. No, I won't agree. Ethan was in full panic now. He scrambled up from the floor and reached for my hand. Serena, I really know I was wrong. I love you. Everything I did because I love you so much, because I was terrified of losing you. This heartfelt declaration might have moved me once upon a time. Now it only turned my stomach. I took a step back, avoiding his touch. Adrian moved forward, placing himself silently between me and Ethan, cutting us off. He looked at Ethan, a trace of pity in his eyes. Love her? Ethan, you don't even know what she's done for you. What right do you have to say you love her? Ethan blinked, stunned. What has she done? She introduced me to a few people, so what? My company's success was mostly my own ability. Even now, he was still drunk on the fantasy that he was some sort of business prodigy. Your ability? Adrian looked like he'd just heard the best joke in town. He took a folder from Dylan and hurled it in Ethan's face. Open your eyes and see what your so-called ability really is. The pages scattered across the floor. Ethan picked up a few sheets. One glance and he froze. They were the critical contracts from the very beginning of his company. The biggest of them all was with a firm called Kixing Tech. That single order had catapulted him into the spotlight and cemented his place in the industry. He had always believed he'd won it on his own merit. But on the last page, the guarantor's name was written in black and white, Adrian. How is this possible? Ethan muttered, frantically flipping through the pages. The CEO of Kixing told me he was impressed by my proposal. He wasn't impressed by your proposal, Adrian said coldly. He was impressed by my face, or more precisely, by Serena's face. Ethan jerked his head up, staring at me, confusion flooding his eyes. 3 years ago, your company was hemorrhaging cash. You hit wall after wall and were on the brink of bankruptcy. Adrian spoke slowly, each word a hammer blow to Ethan's chest. Serena came to the estate with your marriage certificate and begged me. She didn't say a word, just stood outside my study the entire night. She told me she knew you looked down on her, knew you hated this marriage. But since she'd married into the Sterling family, she was one of us, and she couldn't watch her husband become a failure. So she begged me to help you. She said as long as you can make your comeback, she would stay out of your social circle, forever be a quiet, invisible wife you never had to worry about. Adrian's words left the study in deathly silence. Lydia and Marcus stared at me shocked, as if this were the first day they'd ever met their daughter-in-law. Ethan stood rooted to the spot. He couldn't accept that the glorious comeback he prided himself on, the turning point of his career, had been handed to him by me. I had traded my dignity and my future silence to pave his road. And he had taken every inch of it as proof of his own brilliance. Every major project you landed these 3 years, every big contract you signed, my shadow was behind them, Adrian went on. I helped you not because you're my nephew, but because Serena asked me to. I promised her I'd keep you safe. So tell me, Ethan, do you still believe your success was your own doing? The business empire you boast about is nothing but a sandcastle I built for you. And the only reason I bothered was because Serena wanted to watch the tide come in. Now she doesn't want to watch anymore. When Adrian finished, the entire world caved in before Ethan's eyes. Everything he prided himself on, his career, his pride, his self-confidence shattered in an instant. He was nothing but a joke. A pitiful joke who'd been danced around by his wife and his uncle without ever noticing. No, this isn't real. He staggered backward, knocking over a chair. You're all lying. He looked at me, desperation and madness swirling in his eyes. Serena, tell me, it's not true, right? I watched him fall apart and felt nothing. The heart dies when grief is greatest. When he told me, stop making a scene on the phone, my heart had already flatlined. It's true, I answered evenly. Ethan, you never really knew me and you never really knew yourself. My words were the final straw. He dropped to his knees again, not because the old man ordered it, but because the world he'd built inside his head had collapsed. He cradled his head and let out a trapped animal wail. Lydia started toward him, but Marcus yanked her back. At last they understood. This daughter-in-law was leaving the Sterling family, or rather their son had never deserved her. Serena, Theodore sighed, weariness and regret thick in his voice, the Sterlings owe you an apology. I consent to the divorce. I'll have people liquidate the assets of Ethan's company. Every dollar that belongs to you will be paid. Father. Marcus and Lydia gasped. That company was now worth billions. Giving Serena half would slice Ethan clean in half. Shut your mouths, Theodore thundered. It's what she's owed. Without her, that company would have been dead 3 years ago. He turned to me, gentler now. The Sterling Manor downtown will be transferred to your name as well, grandfather's gift to you. I didn't refuse. I'd earned every last brick. I wasn't some saint who'd smile and say, it's okay after being stabbed in the back. Quinn. And that was that. Ethan lay on the carpet like a heap of mud, not another word escaping his lips. When I left the study, Adrian walked beside me. Why didn't you tell him sooner? I couldn't help asking. Maybe if he'd known earlier. Tell him so he could keep playing the loving husband out of guilt and gratitude. Adrian cut in. He stopped and turned. Behind the gold-rimmed glasses, his eyes were bottomless. Serena, that wouldn't be love, it would be charity. And you deserve better. My heart skipped a beat. That night, I didn't go back to the house I had shared with Ethan. I stayed in a guest room at the estate. The next morning, Ethan and I filed the divorce papers. The whole process went shockingly smoothly. He looked shell-shocked from start to finish. When we stepped out of the courthouse, he called after me. Serena, he rasped, can't we go back to the way we were? We can't. I met his gaze, perfectly calm. Ethan, I wish you and your Lila a long, happy life together. I turned and walked away without a backward glance. The chapter of us ended right there, ink dry. Divorce life was calmer than I'd expected. News of our split and the smoke and goo proof that Ethan had cheated with Lila sent the internet into a feeding frenzy. Sterling's stock price nosedived, partners tore up contracts, and overnight he crashed from heaven to hell. Lila fared even worse. Public enemy #1, every endorsement and film offer yanked, her talent agency dropping her like a bad habit. Me? My trash the cheat woke queen image earned sympathy and cheers. Followers surged instead of sinking. Shona's phone nearly combusted, scripts, campaigns, luxury brands, all chasing me. Serena, disaster just became your Oscar bait, Joanna shrieked. I locked you, the A-list director's next blockbuster lead role. Shoot starts Monday. Suddenly the sky felt wider. Before I reported to set, I went back to the home Ethan and I once shared to collect my things. The keypad beeped denial. He'd already changed the code. I snorted, reaching for my phone to call the building concierge when the door swung open from inside. Lila stood there wearing my silk pajamas, face beat to perfection, smirk dialed to maximum. Well, if it isn't the great Serena. Locked out and crawling back for your stuff? From the hallway, Ethan slurred. Who's that? He staggered over, took one look at me, eyes clouding with guilt and booze. What do you want? My belongings, I said, brushing past. Hold it. Lila blocked me. This is my house now. Your junk's already gone. You threw them out? My voice iced over. Yup. She gloated, arms folded. Hideous clutter. Oh, and that precious script Bible you annotated to death? Trashed it too, hope you don't mind. That leather-bound stack of every screenplay I'd ever read, margins crammed with years of notes, my creative diary. Fury blazed through me. Say that again. I said I tossed it. Problem? Lila sneered. Serena, stop clinging to the Sterlings like a life raft. Ethan loves me. You're just the washed-up ex. A cool voice sliced through the doorway before I could answer. Is that so? Adrian leaned against the jamb, expression idle, gaze lethal. I'd love to know who empowered you to touch what's mine and trash your property. Lila's grin fossilized. Ethan sobered halfway, stammering. You, Uncle Adrian. Why are you here? Adrian ignored him, slid his suit jacket off, and draped it over my shoulders. He turned to Lila, tone conversational, arctic. Did I hear you admit you threw Serena's things away? Lila's calves were literally shaking. She never dreamed Adrian would show up in person. It was a joke. Everything's still here, she babbled. Where? Not a flicker of warmth. The storage unit. Adrian flicked a glance at Dylan. Within seconds, Dylan and 2 security strode down the hall, returning with my labeled trunks. Casey, all your boxes accounted for, Dylan confirmed. I exhaled, shoulders loosening. Good, now for the rest of the reckoning. Adrian faced Lila, a thin smile cutting his lips. You called Serena a washed-up ex? Lila's face bleached. I didn't mean. Then what did you mean? He stepped closer. And you claim this house is yours by what authority? He speed-dialed. Legal? Issue a blanket industry blacklist on Lila. Then draft suits for defamation and criminal trespass. He paused, eyes skidding to Ethan, who was shrinking against the banister. And phone the banks, call every outstanding loan Ethan has. Freeze all related assets. I never want to see either name again. Clean, clinical, final. Lila's eyes rolled back. She dropped like a broken doll. Ethan slid to the floor, complexion the color of old ash. He knew this was the end. Adrian never looked their way again. He took my hand, voice soft. Let's go. Sunlight drenched us the instant we crossed the threshold. I drew it in like oxygen. I glanced once at the door shutting behind us, an entire era closing. Thank you, I whispered. I told you better is what you deserve, he answered, eyes tender, including a lover who'll never let you bruise. My heart stuttered back to life. Maybe a doomed marriage existed only to steer me toward the right one. Months later, I hoisted my first Best Actress statuette. Under the clique lights, I spotted him front row, applauding, proud. I need to thank one person, I said into the mic. The man who became my lighthouse when the night closed in. He taught me I'm worthy of love and of everything exquisite. Our gazes welded across the orchestra pit, elegant, possessive, starstruck. After-party flashbulbs mobbed me. Serena, who's the mystery man? Is it Adrian? Are you dating? Before I could speak, Adrian parted the press, laced his fingers with mine, and lifted our joined hands to the cameras, grin unapologetic. Yes, he declared. We're together and we're getting married. Gasped, cheers, strobing lights. I studied his carved profile, the galaxies in his eyes, and felt every past win evaporate. He was right. I do deserve it all. Thanks for listening. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate this story? If you enjoyed the video, hit like and share it with friends. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments section. Don't forget to subscribe for more unforgettable tales. See you next time.